Marvel Zombie #1. Okay, I was looking forward to this. I'm a big fan of Marvel Zombies, and I was like, okay, Marvel Zombie? Oh, yeah, I remember this character, iZombie. Right. Okay, let's check this out. Let's see what it is. So it does take place in the world of Marvel Zombies, and we find out now Moon Girl's a player. I guess, you know, as it progresses, you got to bring in these new characters. And it's basically him. He's conscious, he's a zombie, and he's walking through the apocalypse, and this boy comes across a totem that's similar to iZombie, and they find out that this boy can now control iZombie. He's kind of a what's his name, a warg or whatever it is from Game of Thrones. Yeah, I think they even say that. And granted, you still have the characters running around. Not so much as normal, though, from the Marvel Zombie titles. Like, they say, hey, there's Zombie Doc Ock, and he's got, like, you know, human arms attached to him rather than his metal arms and stuff like that. They've, of course, Peter Parker is still alive. Black Widow is. Moon Girl. And I think I'm missing who else. But, yeah, there's a couple of others as well. But in all honesty, it doesn't matter so much of the survivors. It's not about them. It's about iZombie and his connection to this little boy who seems to be running around for some reason. It is unremarkable, I want to say. I mean, the story's written and it's drawn, and that's about as dynamic as it gets. Oh, here you go. Yeah, Misty Knight, Hawkeye. You know, it's a whole bunch of who cares that survived. You know, it's like, okay, it's the C-listers, it's the D-listers. But then again, we're dealing with iZombie, so... Oh, and Daredevil, at least that was kind of cool. You know, so we're also just dealing with a D-list kind of thing as well. So I guess I can understand. And it makes sense because guys are more likely to be the characters that go, you wait here, I'm going to go do this thing to hopefully save us all, and then they get killed and leave the final girl. So it's very much a horror movie trope that, you know, that the guys would die first because they put themselves into danger the first. So yeah, I guess it makes sense, but still it is a whole bunch of I don't care stew as far as these characters are concerned. I wanted to like this book so much, and you know what, if it were straight up iZombie, I think I would have, because that's an interesting character. The boy and the zombie thing, that's an interesting character. The Marvel Zombie story around it, it isn't. I wish I could say more, you know. Hey, zombie apocalypse stuff, isn't it cool? No, I'm sorry, it isn't. First of all, everything is gray, drab, and drawn to look like big mountains of garbage. Okay, I can understand you're in a zombie apocalypse, but why the great, are we saying, I guess all the superheroes were fighting the zombies and the cities got destroyed or something like that, I guess? I don't know. Maybe that's it, because that makes sense. Either way, there's not much in the story that makes sense. And I want to get to some parts, and this is going to spoil it, so, you know, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, it's on you now. I want to talk about the ending. And so in the beginning, we see the superheroes fighting off the zombie horde, and they are like, wow, what if a big horde comes through? And then they find out there's a horde of about 10,000 zombies coming through. So they're like, oh my gosh, that's what we were talking about. Isn't that coincidental? And so they find out that this kid can control a zombie, and they decide to put a suicide vest on it so it can walk out in the middle of the horde and blow it up and destroy the horde. Okay, not a bad idea. And so they're going forward with this plan, and it's working. Everything they thought would happen is happening. You know, they of course have to fight the zombies on the outside for some reason, rather than just, it's a dumbass plan, because they talk about, oh wow, we can send this guy on in and blow him up. Of course, Peter Parker's like, but they were people, we should try to work on curing them. And Black Widow's like, yeah, we'll cure them with a bullet, bitch, patow. But if you're going to control a zombie to go into the middle of this horde and blow them up, why are you going out of the house? But anyway, they all go out of the house and they start fighting zombies. And they're about to have the zombie blow up the vest, and the kid goes, "But he's my friend. Why are you gonna kill him?" Oh, and now they're expecting the big explosion. So you've got Misty, you got Hawkeye, you got Daredevil, and all them out in the middle of this big zombie horde. And Moon Girl, who's supposed to do the blowing up, is like, "Oh, I understand friendship." And she lets everybody die so this kid can have a zombie friend. And then we see them walk off in the sunset. Happy ending. Everything's good and kosher now. And Zombie Girl's like, or Moon Girl's like, "Hey, you better make it worth it because I just betrayed the human race." And everything's supposed to be happy because literally the ending looks like it's supposed to be a happy ending. And wow, I was like, you know what, this story sucks. It really does. I wish I could say more about it, but no, guys, this book blows. So the Lone Ranger has a new comic book, and I'm pretty excited about it. I was like, oh my gosh, gotta get this one. Have to, man, because I'm a big fan of like the Lone Ranger, Zorro, Green Hornet, Phantom, Shadow, Spirit, all those. I really am. So if they're gonna put out a comic book, by gosh, I'm gonna pick it up. And all I hope is that they retain the spirit and the core of the character. Now, the core of the character is here. And in all honesty, I have to admit I was having a lot of fun with the book, you know, and it's an entertaining book. It really is. In this case, we kind of open. By the way, I love this cover. I do. It's a good time. So the story goes, there are land grabbers, and apparently it all has to do with the barbed wire fences. they talk about barbed wire a lot in this one. Some guy comes up to another farmer and says, "Hey, look, your fence is on my property," and he even tries to reason with him that maybe, you know, the census got it wrong and everything. And the guy says, "Well, according to this map, it's not," and then kablam, shoots him. And we find out that there is a bit of a cabal that wants to section everything off and kind of close the land off to everybody to the point where they can control everything. They can control commerce and trade and travel and so forth and so on. All with the use of barbed wire. I'm telling you, they really do bring it up quite a bit. And I got to admit, it was working on me. And have you noticed I'm using the word "was"? And I'm not saying, hey, it works and it's great and it's woo, and I loved it, because there are some really good elements. Don't get me wrong. There's some really good elements to this. And watching Lone Ranger in action, seeing him do his Lone Ranger-y things, I'm in. I liked it. What I didn't care for was the bad guys. Oh, man, this is the Wild West, and you still managed to put modern-day politics into it, didn't you? And it was just, the bad thing is that this story really steers into the, hey, isn't America built on racism kind of thing, and it was made for the rich. And oh my gosh, they're such mustache twirlers. They're such one-dimensional mustache twirlers. So while the Lone Ranger was gotten right, while the action was done well, and it's drawn pretty good. It looks okay. It's a good-looking book. The villains are so one-dimensional, obvious trash. Because at one point they're saying, "Oh, and I like the cotton plantation." I mean, wait a second. Guys, this is after the Civil War. I like me the cotton plantation where everybody knows their place. You have the women at home barefoot and pregnant. You have the black people in the field picking the cotton. You got the poor guys with their guns. And then you got the rich white man sitting on the porch controlling it all. That's what America was founded on. That's what America was built on. And I wish I was, I mean, I know I'm paraphrasing, but I wish I was more wrong than I may actually sound right now, because that is very accurate to what they talk about in the story. And I was like, no, you're not allowed. You're not allowed to do this. You are not allowed to do this with a freaking Lone Ranger. I will not allow it. God dang it. But yeah, that's what they did with it. Like I said, the Lone Ranger is treated well, but the bad guys bring the book down. I'm like, when I'm reading the Lone Ranger segments, this is easily a 4-star book, and then they're like, I don't know if I can recommend this anymore. So at the best, it's 3-star. So I've done this before, where I put an independent comic book behind the star comic book, the Marvel or DC. What do you think of these reviews? I really want to know if you would like me to continue this. I like it. Obviously, it gives me the 10-minute runtime that YouTube requires, but also it lets me read and get out a review of an independent comic that would be completely ignored otherwise. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, don't forget to click like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Cool things happen around these parts. Now, if you don't mind helping out the channel, go on over to Patreon, drop $1 and still helps keep making videos for you. Thank everybody who's already done that, and to everyone, all of the true believers, thank you very, very much for watching.